It's Hispanic Heritage Month, a time to celebrate the cultures and contributions of Hispanic and Latino Americans. The month started on September 15th to honor the independence of many countries in Latin America, including Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. Hispanic Heritage Month celebrates the achievements, progress, and culture of Latino and Hispanic communities. This year's theme is Todos Somos uno. We are all, we are one. As of 2022, there are about 63.6 million people who make up the Hispanic population in the U.S. That means roughly 1 out of 5 people in the U.S. is Hispanic. The United States Census Bureau reports the Hispanic population has grown from 16.4% in 2010 to 19.1% in 2022. Hispanics now make up the nation's largest racial or ethnic minority. I'm Yvonne Nava, and in today's special, we're going to highlight the achievements, people, culture, and issues in the Hispanic and Latino communities around the U.S. We're also going to delve into the history of Hispanic Heritage Month. That's where we begin, with a closer look at the origin of Hispanic Heritage Month. Tim Pham explains where it began and why it's celebrated.
September 15th is the first day of Hispanic Heritage Month. It's a time to celebrate the history, culture, and contributions of people whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America. The remembrance has not always been a month-long observation. It actually began in 1968, when President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the National Hispanic Heritage Week bill into law. Representative Esteban E. Torres of California proposed a bill to expand the observance, saying more time was needed to properly observe Hispanic culture and achievement. In 1988, the month-long observance was signed into law by President Ronald Reagan. President George H.W. Bush became the first president to declare the 31-day period beginning on September 15th Hispanic Heritage Month. This is significant because it is the anniversary of independence for Latin American countries Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. Mexico also celebrates its independence on September 16th, or 16, followed by Chile on September 18th.
Thanks to the historic accomplishments of Latino and Hispanic leaders, we have Hispanic Heritage Month. And as those communities grow across the country, Hispanic leaders in Buffalo aim to share their culture with the community. Alexandra Rios Malavia brings us that story.
The new Hispanic Cultural Institute is one step closer to being more than just a vision.
We worked very hard in getting to where we are today.
Tenoria Santos is a board director for the Hispanic Heritage Council of Western New York. She is also a Puerto Rican American who grew up in the Queen City.
My mother came here from Puerto Rico because this was a place that she felt was going to give her an opportunity. She even says the best decision that she made was coming to Buffalo.
Tenoria has seen the Hispanic population in Western New York grow over years firsthand.
I remember growing up and my neighbors spoke Spanish. I went to the store and they spoke Spanish. And so it's good to actually see the city and the region investing back into that community.
And now she is working with the council that is responsible for the new institute.
We created a business plan, a capital campaign. We worked with wonderful consultants who have great experience that have been able to guide us and prepare us for this institute.
Her team recently met up with the planning board. They had the locations rezoned. The next step is to get the permits approved. Then it's groundbreaking time.
This is the first of its kind in upstate New York. So this is huge. This is a historical moment for our community.
So far, they've raised over $17 million that will go directly to the Institute. They will have things like a museum, an art gallery, and learning labs. Their goal is to not only celebrate their culture, but also share it with others.
We want the next generation to be able to understand why their families migrated here, why we're here, what is the food that we eat, how to dance salsa, bachata, and all of the different dances that we have to speak the language and to pass down the language to the next generation, but also welcome people who are interested and want to learn about the Hispanic culture and even want to learn Spanish.
They expect to break ground in September, which is around the same time as Hispanic Heritage Month. This day will finally make their dreams become reality.
Cultural centers like the one in Buffalo share the beauty of the Hispanic and Latino cultures with local communities, but they also show the trials Hispanic and Latino Americans have faced. On the other side of the country, an exhibit at the Mexican Heritage Center in Stockton, California, tells a story of a community displaced and a history erased. Photojournalist Ayana Williams has a story on Barrio del Chivo, Goat Valley, and the tight-knit community of color that once lived there.
We have an exhibit, a wonderful exhibit, of a neighborhood that was demolished. It was done away with, and it was an area where poor people lived, and a lot of Mexican and black mostly lived there. Barrio del Chivo, which in English is Goat Valley.
There's markets, filters, medical engagement.
It was a close-knit community, and they all looked out for each other. When somebody was sick, they said they didn't go to doctors. They all went to church and prayed for the person. They said they never went hungry because even if the person of the house wasn't there, they could always go in the house, borrow sugar, borrow whatever they needed. No guns, they said, no weapons. It was just a loving community where everybody knew everyone and everybody helped everyone. The government was giving cities like Stockton grants to look for areas that they consider slum areas. This was unfortunately the area selected by the city council to demolish. The reason they declared it a slum area was because they said it was unhealthy. There was no indoor plumbing, and they just said it was not safe to be there. 50% of the people there owned their houses, and so they didn't want to leave their houses. Some of the quotes that they have and we have around say that, you know, some of their houses were cardboard boxes, but it was their home and they were happy there. They had to find another place to live and they didn't have the money. So that was one of the big concerns. Some of them were offered public housing and they didn't want it because they said, well, we have a home. Public housing is where people don't have homes. And they were concerned. The city did buy their houses, but of course they couldn't buy something at that price. When they were discussing it, it caused a lot of bad feelings with the people. And they had meetings and a lot of the community people would come in and they wanted a self-help program instead of demolishing and doing away with the neighborhood. I have copies of the letters, original letters, and the presentations that they made. And so that makes it very interesting because, you know, you can see how the people felt and the things that they wanted to say, they said it. I even have a letter from Dolores Huerta. Everything that I had heard was word of mouth. I had never seen anything written, so I wanted to do a factual exhibit because I think it's important to see it in writing. And I had a lot of trouble because there was nothing in writing. There's nothing on it, really. The only thing I really got that makes a difference is the letters from the city council meetings of the time. And that was in the late 50s, early 60s. This exhibit has been like 7 years in the making. It just didn't happen, mainly because the information was so hard to get a hold of.
Next up, the South Waco Library is displaying names and faces of prominent people in the local Hispanic community. Here's Meredith Haas on how they're being honored.
South Waco Library, you may notice a few new faces.
And they have a picture of an individual who has passed away and who has contributed to the Waco, helping Waco grow. They were part of the Hispanic community especially.
Over a dozen people within the Hispanic community are now on display. And Luis Garcia, who helps run the Hispanic Museum, helped put all of this together.
No, it's just the culture that, you know, this is who we are and what we've done, and we've been here for a long time and plan to be here for a very long time after that.
Luis's family has been in Waco since 1900, when they came over to pick cotton. Today, he knows the Hispanic history that laid the foundation of Waco like the back of his hand.
A lot of Hispanics moved into Waco in 1917. About 1,000 of them were brought in to help build Richfield out here. It was going to be an Air Force base. And so they brought them into this district here, or this area here, and it became known like Calle Dos, which would be 2nd Street, running right here.
And with the help of the library, prominent Hispanic names will never be forgotten.
We want the community to feel like, you know, we feel these people are important. We want everyone else to see how important they were and how, you know, Waco didn't just spring up by itself. It was these people that were helping make it happen. And
like Lewis's family and the thousands of Hispanic Wacoans that are embedded in the city's history.
This way, it's another place for the public to go and see who we are.
For 6 News, I'm Meredith Haas.
Hispanic and Latino communities are among the fastest growing in the U.S. And as those communities grow, so does an interest in bilingual education. Maria Guzman takes us inside a Knoxville daycare where learning a second language is part of the lesson plan.
Empiezo a nombrar Carolina, Acella, Lily.
Inside Mrs. Diana's classroom, kids here can travel to the tropics of Brazil's Amazon rainforest or learn parts of the body, all in Spanish and all from Knoxville. Diana Peon is the school director of Hola Knoxville Bilingual Academy. She teaches kids as young as 3 years old how to speak and read in English and Spanish, all through hands-on and immersive learning activities.
I believe every child deserves to learn a second language. At this age, they learn naturally, without any difficulty.
Originally from Colombia, Diana arrived to East Tennessee in 2007. It was her dream to teach the next generation her native tongue. So at 33 years old, she enrolled in college and began to learn English.
I decided to open a bilingual preschool because this was my dream, to teach a second language.
She says the demand for Spanish as a second language by parents is growing. What started with a class of 6 kids has doubled to 12.
I have children trilingual, bilingual. I have children from South America, Central America, from here, from United States. I have children from Italy, Spain, South Korea, and Japan.
Carlos Ayavena-Vitelis is the president of the Latino Chamber of Commerce of East Tennessee. He says more parents want to teach their kids multiple languages.
These kids start from 1 year old learning Spanish and will go home and they continue with the English language at home. So that kind of influence and that kind of brain activity.
The interest of bilingual education expands outside of just early childhood, but into adulthood.
Of course, it makes you so much more marketable on the job market. If you're able to go in and do the work of 2 people because you can speak 2 languages, I mean, that can change your chances of being hired tremendously.
The future of Spanish and English language in Knoxville, starting all within a bilingual classroom.
A major issue impacting Hispanic communities is the desperate need for interpreters in important spaces like courtrooms. Here's Brittany Moncrief with a deep dive into the issue.
When it comes to culture,
one of the reasons Memphis is such a great city is because we are so diverse.
While diversity is growing fast, some resources lag behind.
The Hispanic community is growing immensely here in Memphis and Shelby County. So obviously a lot of them don't speak English. So there's a major need for translators in the court.
La Prensa Latina's Vivian Fernandez de Adamson says she's spoken with community members who come to court, but no court interpreter is available.
If it was me, I will feel like absolutely frustrated.
Fernandez D. Adamson has also seen the toll it takes on court interpreters.
They have all these cases and they have to represent these people, but again, they don't have somebody, that can help them with their own language.
So we reached out to Shelby County government. They say court interpreters are provided by the state. Tennessee state courts say the state funds an interpreter program, and on its website, 126 court interpreters are listed throughout Tennessee, just 5 assigned to Memphis.
If you're a Hispanic person, you may be waiting an hour or 2 just to get that interpreter because there may be just one for the whole building.
They're going to have to open more positions for court translators or maybe have like a workshop or something to train these people.
People like Carmelita Hernandez, who says she's tried to be a translator.
Too much red tape. They want certification. The certification costs. Some of us that do know how to translate want those jobs. For the certification, we're stuck. Unless you know somebody that knows somebody.
There's so many people that they don't speak English, or maybe they do, but not so good. They will feel more comfortable when they speak in their own language.
And now a personal story of heritage, resilience, and excellence from an Austin woman who's breaking the mold and inspiring others to do the same. She's ascending to new heights and helping others stand in their truth. Denise Fernandez doesn't follow in anyone's footsteps. She paves her own path.
I was the first person in my family who graduated high school and then went to college.
She's also the family's first lawyer. It's a far cry from her childhood. Growing up in Houston, the daughter of Mexican immigrants, Fernandez became all too familiar with courtrooms.
My dad in the immigration system, but also in and out of the criminal justice system, my mom experiencing eviction. These interactions with the legal system were really hard and they were traumatic.
She felt her parents couldn't get fair representation.
My dad has a really thick accent. My mom was really timid in these spaces, and it's really easy in those situations to just forget that people are human.
Both having a lasting impact on Fernandez. In fact, it's exactly why she became a lawyer. Fast forward to January of this year.
All right.
She became known as
the Honorable Judge Denise Fernandez,
presiding over Travis County Court at Law number 6.
I can see it.
She handles misdemeanors and leads a youth diversion program called Transformative Youth Justice.
I appreciate you being here.
It helps 17 to 20-year-olds who are in trouble and have pending cases.
Just because someone gets arrested for an offense at this young of an age, we can do something to help them, to help change the trajectory of their lives, and to remind them that they have the ability to believe in themselves.
And that's something she's had to personally learn throughout the years.
I didn't come out until I was like 26 years old.
Fernandez is the first openly gay Latina to serve a county court bench in Travis County, a title she proudly holds.
Especially as queer women of color, it's important to say I'm not hiding any part of myself to be accepted. I want to be accepted for the wholeness of who I am. The first time my wife met my family, she was like, "Why is everyone yelling?" And I said, "Oh, actually, this is not yelling. This is quite normal. We all talk very loud."
Her voice,
I'm going to ask you some pretty standard legal questions,
has served her well. Fernandez has dedicated her career to public service and breaking generational cycles, specifically when it comes to education.
Once I broke through that ceiling, then my sibling went to college, and then my younger cousins began to go to college. And it's really just about believing in yourself and knowing that your story, your lived experience can actually create a lot of impactful change.
In Gwinnett County, Georgia, a local minor league baseball team is adopting a brand new identity to honor the growing base of Latino fans of America's favorite sport. Joe Ripley brings us that story.
Finding your voice is a lot like finding your own batting stance.
I started playing when I was 3.
Ask Jesmer Perez, on hand at Coro Field to watch the Gwinnett Stripers. It didn't take long for him to find baseball or that home run swing.
Hitting and catching, it's it's an original sport. I can't help it. It's my favorite sport.
The Gwinnett Stripers are the AAA affiliate for the Atlanta Braves, but for 6 games during the season, se transforman y juegan como los Zolos de Gwinnett. Named after the national dog of Mexico, the Zolos are part of a push by minor league baseball to increase awareness of Hispanic heritage and culture. Stripers general manager Aaron McCormick says dozens of teams take on a new persona for La Copa de la Diversión. Winning the event takes winning games, the ballpark experience, and community engagement.
There is a change in your fan base at the ballpark, and that you're seeing a different group of people come out, but they know that they can have fun and be welcomed.
I feel like there's a lot of a strong Latino heritage, Latino culture around, spread out throughout the states. I think it's really cool to represent that on the field.
The team is 5-0 when they don the bright blue, red, and gold. Go Xolos! Fans have also embraced the Xolos and another voice in the community.
Go Xolos!
This is an impact for all the Latinos. You come from your country to a new country, one that has a new culture. One tries to adapt.
No matter what language that voice speaks, it inspires fans like Jesmer Perez.
If I keep putting in the work and keep training with my dad in the garage or keep going to practice, I might be able to play with the Xolos or the Stripers.
In Gwinnett County, Joe Ripley, 11 Alive News.
The third annual Latino Pride Festival commemorated the start of Hispanic Heritage Month. This is the festival's first return since COVID. It signals a return to a safe space of love and support. Jade Cunningham takes us to the event in Arizona.
I'm just glad I'm here. From fun music to delicious food, the annual Latino Pride Festival is a party.
Just to have fun, hang out with some of my colleagues and listen to the vibes, the good music.
But for everyone there,
it's about being together.
This event is something special. It makes me feel really empowered and seen.
It's a very festive time. It's a time for folks to come out, be themselves, to be comfortable in where they're at, and just celebrate.
Latino Pride Alliance member Steve Gallardo says this festival is about giving hope to those in the Latino LGBTQ+ community.
Our message is you're not alone. We're here. We're here to offer support. We're here to help you, guide you. You are part of our family.
It's also about offering a helping hand and connecting people with valuable resources like healthcare, education, and more.
Maricopa Community Colleges serves our community. We're a community college, and a good portion of our population is part of the Latinx community, and we just want to make sure that we're here and we're here to support them.
Attendees like Jeanette Sanchez are thankful.
So important because it gives us, like we can be seen and we're in a safe space, and we have our allies, and then we also have our community all in one space working together. It's just a beautiful type of situation.
Making this one event, people are celebrating with pride.
Just like our flag, there's rainbow everywhere, and so we all belong here. We're all part of the rainbow. Just show love and show up for one another, be kind, and everybody has a place in this world.
Members of the Hispanic and Latino community across the state of Idaho put on the Nuestros Corridos concert to connect with others and honor their roots. The performers demonstrate that through music, you can share heritage and history in a very special way. Here's Jude Binkley with more.
Songs can tell a story.
It's a beautiful story, the history of the Latinos in Idaho.
Stories told through corridos, ballads based on real-life stories and people to celebrate Latino history and culture in Idaho.
We're very proud of our history in the state of Idaho. So we have collected stories that appear in the newspapers, in magazines, and you name it, stories that were very important in our community. And we have put them to music.
People gathered at the Hispanic Cultural Center in Nampa to celebrate and tell the stories of 150 years of Idaho Latino history. Stories were shared through songs, poetry, and dance.
We use our body, and we use our feet, and we use the music, and we use our dresses to convey the beauty and the diversity that is Mexico. And it's what we do best, it's what we know, and it's our passion.
A passion of Ballet Folklorico Mexico Lindo, a dance group who performed a corrido about the Adelita, a heroine during the Mexican Revolution.
She is to Mexican culture what Rosie the Riveter is to American culture. So she is the embodiment of feminism and courage and bravery and strength.
And a dance that celebrates the beauty of the Gem State.
And it's called Homenaje a Idaho. And in English, it translates to homage to the state of Idaho. And it just talks about the beauty that is Idaho and the mountains and the potatoes and the rivers. And so, yeah, it's a beautiful song.
we're so proud, to kind of celebrate our history, our culture, and then invite people to join us in the celebration and participate by listening to us and learning about stories that possibly they have not learned before.
Today it feels like I represent my heritage, my culture to other people who also share my heritage with me, especially as being a Mexican in America, where you're not surrounded by your culture or heritage as much as you would be, say, if we were still living in Mexico.
It's such a diverse group within our dance company, within the Treasure Valley, within Idaho, within the United States. And so we are representative of the diversity that is Mexico. And Mexico is beautiful and diverse in itself. And it's an honor to be a dancer and a dance teacher and to share my time and talents with my dance company and with our community to show that we are beautiful Mexico.
And there you have it. There are so many ways people across the nation are celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month this year. And there's still time for you to join in to celebrate and learn more about Hispanic and Latino cultures. Feliz Mes de la Herencia Hispana. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. I'm Yvonne Nava. Thanks for watching.